Do not tease me, man. Don't tease me. My boys, okay? My boys. What is going on, everybody? It is Jake with Master Football, back at it again. Happy Wednesday. Thank you so much for being here. Hope you guys had a good Labor Day weekend. Let's get going, baby. For anybody who's never been here before, this is Jake with Master Football. All things pro football, all things college football, all things video game football, anything related to football we discuss on this show. American football for all my international friends out there. Please, 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 emphasis on the please. Please subscribe to the channel. Please like it. Please share it. Please do anything like that. Comment on the video. All of that helps out engagement. Subscriptions are the most important. I'm a little hurting on those right now, so hopefully I can earn that from you today. But after all of that, let's get into the video. Okay, so we had a crazy weekend of college football. Touched on it on Monday. I want to go into a little bit more here because the Big 12's got some interesting news here. Now, again, I'm talking about the Big 12 a lot because my boys, I want them to get into the Big 12, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen in the first round. We will get into that, meaning more information later on. But let's go ahead and see how the Big 12 did, because the Big 12, man, they went 9-1 on week one. Here we are on NCAA scoreboard for ESPN. We got Kansas beat South Dakota. They stormed the field after beating an FCS team. Hey, listen, okay, it's KU. We get it. Okay, you guys are great at basketball. Football's a little hurting. You guys won. Take what you can get, okay? Oklahoma had a little bit of a weird situation with Tulane there. Got a little dicey there at the end. Iowa State beat Northern Iowa. Not an easy team to beat by 6. Texas handled UL Lafayette. K-State beat Stanford in a big game there. The only loss they had there was West Virginia lost to Maryland. Again, it was a close game. Old school rivalry there. We have Houston losing to Texas Tech, despite the fact they're getting invited into the league. So they got a little reminder of what's waiting for them when they get into the league. Oklahoma State beat Missouri State by 7. Baylor beat Texas State by 9. It was a weird. Baylor was at Texas State. A little bit of a funky game right there. And then TCU annihilated Duquesne. So, yeah, great. Not a ton of huge victories over amazing opponents, granted. But, again, 9-1 is 9-1, okay? You don't got to apologize to anybody. Remember, the top of the ACC and the bottom of the Pac-12 had a horrendous week one. So you'll take 9-1 whenever you can get it. So that's the touch about what's happened so far in the college football for week one. But then again, we have to get back to the fact it looks like right now Houston, Cincinnati, UCF, and BYU are going to be formally invited to the Big 12. And again, the timing's a little bit weird here. So it looks like what's going to happen right now is they're going to be invited to start July 1st of 2023. For BYU, especially for football, not a big issue. Okay, they're independent. They can do basically whatever they want. They might have to sever their agreement with ESPN, but again, that can be handled. All things can be handled through money. So for Houston, Cincinnati, and UCF, they have to pay $10 million. Again, it all can be handled through money. Okay, if you're going to be making $24 million a year in the Big 12, leaving and paying $10 million is not that big of a deal. But they have to do that in addition to 27 months of headway time for them to leave, kind of like 27 months notice. They have to give a 27-month notice, whatever. But anyways, that's what they have to do in order to make sure that they can leave the conference. So if you think about that right now, the Big 12 would like for them to join on July 1st, 2023. If they do 27 months from now, that's December 2023. So that's after the season's basically over. So that's kind of a weird situation there. However, I think that money is going to kind of take care of that situation. Not really going to have to worry about it because if Texas and Oklahoma leave early, they're going to have $70+ million in payout they have to pay. There's going to be a plenty ability for them to kind of negotiate something. UConn negotiated something as well with the American to leave and go independent. They mostly did that for basketball reasons. Their football team is trash. I mean, they got annihilated by Fresno State. So Fresno State's decent, but I mean, UConn's a rough team. Now, that brings us to something else. So it sounds like this is their first round of additions that they're going to have that are going to go into effect July 1st, 2023. However, it sounds like they might not be done.
But I did want to make mention that Pete Thamel also made note of something you brought up on Friday that we talked about at length on Friday. And he made mention at the very end of his note that the league could consider another round of expansion prior to their new television deal.
And guess what? Guess who's second? Who's next in line? If you went two more teams. Boise State and Memphis.
Yeah. And I mean, that gives you a conference that expands a lot of area.
That's coming from kind of just digging around and people who appreciate, I guess, what we do, letting me know some things that I double-checked on.
Do not tease me, man. Don't tease me. My boys, okay? My boys, don't tease me, baby. I'm tired of the Mountain West, okay? I do like the Mountain West, but again, it's like this. I like my car, but if I can get a Ferrari, I'll get a Ferrari. If I can get a Corvette, I'll get a Corvette. I don't care. Now, that was from 365 Sports. Again, everybody, please go and follow them. They're an awesome channel. I really, really follow them, especially with all this Big 12 stuff. They also do a really good job in college football in general. They are a Baylor-centric show, but I think, honestly, anybody who's a fan of college football will like their show. Okay, so we're not going to take those rumors serious just yet, okay? I would love for Boise State and Memphis to join, especially Boise State because I'm a Boise State fan. But we're going to talk about the existing 4 members because right now nobody's really discussing what that conference is going to look like. We have the 10 teams. We have Texas and Oklahoma leaving, and then we have BYU, Houston, Cincinnati, and UCF entering. I've went ahead and I have, again, this is on Microsoft Word, so nobody shoot me down, okay? You get what you pay for, friends. But anyways, I want to show you what I've done so far. I've got 4 projected kind of conference alignments to make sure that your divisions kind of look out. I want to go ahead and show that right now. All right, so here we are with our 4 conference alignments. I have our 1 East-West number 1 there. I have North-South number 1. I have East-West number 2, and then kind of a red and blue division. So we see East-West number 1. East division would be Cincinnati, Iowa State, Kansas State, UCF, West Virginia. And then the West Division would be Baylor, BYU, Houston, Oklahoma State, TCU, and Texas Tech. So here we are on the map of the United States. So that would basically be, it would be BYU right here, the Texas schools, and Oklahoma State. So it would kind of be this little group right here. Then it would be Kansas State, Iowa State, West Virginia, Cincinnati, and then UCF. So it would be kind of be like this group and these groups, and then this group, and then Utah. That's what that first division would look like. All right, this next division would be North-South number 1. North would be BYU, Cincinnati, Iowa State, Kansas State, and West Virginia. And the South would be Baylor, Houston, Oklahoma State, TCU, Texas Tech, and UCF. So this one would basically be Oklahoma and Texas and Florida. And then all the North Division would be super far east to west. So it would go from the Rocky Mountains all the way over to the Appalachian Mountains. So we'd have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. And then we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. All right, the next East-West I have, it went a little bit different. This East-West right here, I went ahead and split Texas. So you'll see here East-West number 2 has Baylor, Cincinnati, Houston, TCU, UCF, and West Virginia. And the West has BYU, Iowa State, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, and Texas Tech. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with geography, Lubbock is actually over here. It would go ahead and be BYU, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, Iowa, and Texas Tech, and then you'd have these 2 Texas schools. You'd have Houston, you'd have UCF, you'd have West Virginia, and then you'd have Cincinnati. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. And this would be kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. And this last one is just kind of a red-blue division. So the red-blue division is essentially, hopefully my face isn't covering this up, but the red-blue division is kind of you take some rivals, Texas Tech and Houston, I split them. Baylor and TCU, I split them. West Virginia and Cincinnati, I split them. BYU and UCF, they're kind of not really rivals, but I just went ahead and split them. Kansas State, split them. And Oklahoma State and Iowa State, and split them. Those can be rearranged, but again, this could be anything you really want to have here. You make sure that TCU and Baylor would be conference rivals. They would automatically play each other no matter what every year in the other division. Same thing with, West Virginia and Cincinnati. Same thing with Kansas and Kansas State. Anything like that. I feel like that might be a possibility. But again, this red-blue division is probably the most variable out of all of these. But I wanted to go ahead and get these going because I think that there's a lot of strengths and weaknesses here with these. I think when you look at this East-West number 1 right here, the weakness of this is that, especially for the Kansas schools, they might not like this so much because they're not going to get as many games in that Texas market. They will get a lot more games in Florida, and they will get a lot more games in Ohio and in Pennsylvania. I know that, that's where the recruiting is going to be. Morgantown is really close to Pittsburgh, so there's a lot of fertile recruiting ground for them there. This West division right here, nobody really is going to be recruiting a lot in BYU per se, but this still gives access to all the Texas schools to play each other every year. Oklahoma State kind of is in that region, and then BYU would have that access too. The North-South number 1 is, this one is the one that doesn't make a lot of sense in my opinion, just because, or maybe the Southern schools would really like it because all the Texas schools get to stay together, and then they get a trip to Florida every other year. Whereas with this one right here, it looks like the You know, West Virginia just doesn't have any Florida games. Kansas and Kansas State wouldn't get any Texas games or wouldn't get as many. Same with Iowa State. And Cincinnati would be kind of flying between Provo and Ames, Iowa. That wouldn't be necessarily the best places to go. My personal opinion, the best one I've seen, this East-West 2 I actually really like, just because, you know, you split the Texas schools. Now Texas Tech still has the ability to play these other schools, but they would be playing in more, you know, Oklahoma, Kansas, Iowa, and Utah, whereas the rest of the Texas schools would stay together, and then they would kind of be, you know, West Virginia, UCF, Cincinnati would be kind of that Eastern division. This red-blue division, I just kind of threw that together. I'm not super confident in that one, but hey, I went ahead and just put it together. Who knows? So whoever you're a fan of, let me know, where do you want you guys to be playing, which division you want to have. Make sure it's reasonable. Obviously, don't be like, yeah, you know what, BYU, you don't care where they play me in. UCF, I don't care where they play me in. Okay, you got to be reasonable with it. So make sure you kind of put that together. Get in the comments. Let me know what you want to see in terms of the divisions as they cut it up. All right, everybody, thank you so much for being here. I am back at my studio. I'm going to be doing videos more like this. No more crappy audio. Sorry about that. But anyways, everyone, please like, share, subscribe, comment, do anything like that. Get into these videos. I got another video coming out on Friday. I will see you guys then. I am out.